Hi, I'm Alan Ross. We're here at the RE Plus Conference and Exposition. We're talking to thought leaders about the future of the energy economy. So join us and enjoy. My next guest is Loren McDonald. Loren, welcome. Thank you.
Hey, great. Thanks for having me.
Loren is an evangelist, but he's going to do some other things too. He is the CEO, founder, and analyst of EV adoption. When I looked at it, I thought it was EVA adoption, but it's EV adoption.
Yes.
And part of the reason I was excited to have you come and do this, Loren, is that we've done a lot of interviews already. This is the second day of interviews. And the ones that just absolutely stand out, and yours is going to stand out, is with people who are changing the world. I mean, we're at the point of the inflection point of change, right?
Yep.
And as I read about you and I looked up what you did, that's why being an evangelist for EV adoption is really, really important. So first of all, tell me a little bit of how the company works, how you work.
Yeah.
Do it from the framework of one of your clients.
Yeah, so basically, we help companies understand this transition to electric vehicles, both from the EV growth rate from a sales perspective, and as I like to say, what we call vehicles in operation, the actual number of EVs on the road.
Okay.
Everybody just focuses on what the sales are each year.
Right.
The more important thing that affects like this industry and the people here in utilities and solar and power access is actually how many are on the road, right? Because then that affects the demand. But then, secondly, I really help companies understand how this transition to EVs and EV charging creates both a potential negative impact on their business, think like, gas stations and things like that. But more importantly, the business opportunity.
Right.
So how do you manage maybe the decline in one part of your business with the growth in the other part of it? And it's all data driven. So everything I do is based on data and forecasts. So what I'm really doing is providing a foundation of giving companies confidence in understanding where we're going today out to typically often to about 2030. That's most companies I work with are trying to understand where we're going to be in 2030, although some are looking at 2050, 2060. Yeah. So yeah, I'm helping them kind of on a data and consulting business, help to figure out what these opportunities are going to be with this transition.
So you're like the financial planner that I have that is trying to look ahead and tell me what's going on and can only focus on the short term. Or I focus on the short term, like, oh my gosh, the market went down, and he's focused on, hey, you're okay. So
exactly. It's sort of like, thinking about you've got all these sliders you're moving, right? You like the cost of batteries and the cost of EVs, the amount of EV charging infrastructure that's increasing and growing, the number of available models. So you're sort of moving all of these sliders around to actually paint, hopefully, what's an accurate picture of this growth rate and adoption.
You're going to be our guest many other times, okay, because we do a lot of this, because I love people who are, as you say, an evangelist. You're looking at the future and you're helping companies figure out the things they have to do to get there. I really want to focus on two things, because this is the RE Plus conference. A lot of wind, tons of solar. This is about solar. Without great storage capability, utility scale and in my garage, EVs are not going to work. You're going to have a lot of power wherever we need it. You're going to have them at the charging station. You've done some research on that. What does it look like? What do we need to do that we're not doing?
Yeah, so it's actually at this moment right now, it's probably the hottest topic in the industry, right?
That's why I asked you.
Because just recently in California, right, we had the heat wave, 110 degrees at my house. Yeah, and we actually didn't have to have any of the power shut off. We had no blackouts because, and this will relate to EVs, because all the people that had solar and battery storage at their home actually sent their power to the grid. It was one of the main reasons we didn't have the utilities didn't actually have to do the power blackouts, is because we used that solar stored energy in the home batteries. That portends the biggest opportunity with electric vehicles. So as an example, I have a Tesla that has a 100 kilowatt hour battery.
Okay.
It sits in my garage, wasted. during the day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
In the future, when bidirectional charging, what we call vehicle to grid, to basically be able to take that power that's stored in that battery during peak demand period, when it's 110 degrees at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I'll be able to dispatch that power that's in my EV battery that I don't need because I'm only driving to CVS tomorrow or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Send it out to the grid and flatten that demand curve. It's the single biggest opportunity with EVs. So the reality is that, not necessarily today because we're not there yet, but in the future, this bi-directional capability is going to be the single biggest game changer with EVs. And so to your question and how we think about EVs' impact, it's actually going to go from a negative impact to a positive impact. EVs are going to be the single biggest impact on resiliency of the grid because we have all this stored energy in the EVs. Now, the flip to that, where it is challenging, is our transformers and our transmission and our distribution systems are 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years old and can't necessarily handle all these EVs being charging at the same time, right? So we have a couple things that are going on. One is the street that I live on, myself and then another homeowner has an EV. Right now, if we charge at the same time, it has no impact on the grid in our neighborhood. 7 years from now, if 10 people on our street have EVs and we all charge at the exact same time, it might blow the transformer.
Right.
So a couple things are going to happen is PG&E, my utility, is going to have to potentially upgrade sort of their infrastructure and transformers, but more importantly, what are they going to do? And they're already doing this, it's called managed charging. So basically, they'll just get all those 10 people on the street to charge at different times throughout the day, and those programs are already starting now. So in fact, I just opted into one. I just started in the last couple of days. Yeah. And so basically, I will allow the utility to control when I charge my EV so it sort of levels out. Right. So the reality, Alan, is that it's less of a problem, and we actually have enough energy, enough power sources of energy, but what we have to do is move to more clean energy, right? And so when people charge is going to become, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I want to go back to something. I got to go back here. Bidirectional is not here yet. What's it going to take to get it here yet?
So the first thing, and most of your listeners and viewers have probably heard about the Ford F-150 Lightning, the electric vehicle. Yeah. Highest, most popular selling vehicle, not just in the U.S., in the world for like 40 years. Ford just came out, earlier this year with the electric version. It's selling like hotcakes.
The Lightning.
Yeah, the Lightning. It is one of the first electric vehicles that has this bi-directional charging capability. And so the first thing you can do is what we call vehicle to home, which is separate from vehicle to grid. I'll talk about that in a minute. So many people probably remember that the Texas freeze last year, or the Louisiana hurricane and flood, the power issues we've had in California. So you can literally use that energy storage, right, and plug your Ford F-150 Lightning, and I'll get into sort of the details around that, and power your home potentially for 1, 2, 3 days, right? And so that vehicle to home, especially when you think about the power outages and the concerns that people have about being able to, power their refrigerators and their air conditioning and stuff if they have these outages. That EV will be able to handle that. Now the problem right now is there's only about 2 or 3 EVs out of 80 that actually have that bi-directional charging capability. So it's going to take probably another 5 to 7 years where most of the EVs coming out actually are capable of that bi-directional. Right now, most EVs you can charge it, but you can't dispense it.
So, okay, sorry, I have a picture. We have a